Maine Wildlife Park in Gray now plans to open on May 20th. The opening was delayed due to extensive damage at the park caused by a snowstorm in early April. The damage affected the fencing, trails, and animal houses. Officials said none of the animals were harmed during the storm. Tuesday, the park said volunteers from every division of the Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife helped clean up the park and make repairs. Fences and picnic tables have been fixed, truckloads of brush removed, gardens raked, and washouts filled in. Park officials said there is still a lot of work to be done, but that if everything goes as planned, they will welcome just in time for Memorial Day weekend.